stuck indoors again, so I thought I would spend a few minutes putting together a little tip on Adobe Lightroom to do with graduated filters and how best we can control them. So in the basic panel, most of our sliders, let's say exposure, impact the whole picture. So I slide that to the left and the whole picture is impacted, which is why we've got tools such as the brush, the radial filter and the graduated filter to apply these more locally to the screen. Now let's say my task here was to do something with the sky. I would most likely reach for a graduated filter and put the filter in place best I can to the horizon there, and then make some changes. I'm going to do the exposure again. It's not what I want to change, I'm just demonstrating this here. And there you are. So this would apply the change. I've gone nearly 2 stops down, so that it gets its name, the graduated filter, because everything above that line is 2 stops down, and between that line and the dot, it slowly graduates that filter. So it'll be 2 stops down, 1.75, 1.5, and so on. So that's where the graduation comes in. So you've got your graduation band, and then you've got your totally applied band and totally not applied, and that's your graduated filter. But it's not just the sky, is it? Look, it's actually taking my 2 stops down on the priory, and that's not what I want to do. So I could leave it exactly like that. So let's just do that. And I could choose a brush, and I could choose erase, leave auto mask on, and I could start erasing the effect where I don't want it. And with auto mask on, it does a fairly good job, and especially if you can control the size of the brush, which I made it quite small now, of getting close to and not going over the lines. However, if the minus sign, the center of the brush, actually does go over, and I'll just come down the left here, then it spills out, and then you've got to think of selecting the normal brush and kind of put it back in, but I can still see an edge there. Or what you'd probably do at that stage, kill the filter and have another go. And if you were as little into the task as I was there, that's no great shakes. But if you just spent 10 minutes actually carefully selecting and brushing all around things, and you didn't spot it at first, so you don't know how many Control Zs to do, then you could be wasting some time. But there is an easier and quicker way to do this. So one thing I can say about the sky, and I wanted to do something with the sky, is it's all predominantly one color in this particular picture. So that makes it a really good candidate for putting a range mask on. So we've got a range mask here. We've got 2, color and luminance. Color is the one I'm going to use, but I will quickly go through luminance so that it's a bit more of a complete tutorial. So with luminance, and we show the luminance mask, this is everything in orange now, or ready orange, is where any changes I make will be applied. However, if I pick my eyedropper and click it here, I've selected a level of luminosity right beneath the eyedropper, which Adobe then says, okay, I'm going to apply the filter within the constraints of this being graduated to every luminosity that matches that. And that's great. It does the vast majority of the sky, but you can see it all over the priory as well, and that's not what I want to do. So again, I have my option to erase, or I could use these other 2 sliders here, which change the bounds of the luminosity. So if I slide that to the left, it's got a very wide range. So where I clicked on luminosity, Adobe is able to use a lot of poetic license left and right of that to say to expand the selection, or I can actually choose to constrain it, and you can see it's getting very subtle. And then change the smoothness. I can make it quite harsh or rough. I guess it's a smoother slider than the left is rough, or I can make it very smooth and bring it to the right. And that can be perfect. That could be exactly what we want to make, some really subtle changes. And sometimes it's the subtle changes that really make a difference when we're editing our pictures up. So I hope that explains a little bit about that, but it's not one I'm going to use, so I'm going to kill that filter. And let's put it back in again. So let's get on the horizon. There we go, that looks about right. And this time I'm going to use color. So as I said, the sky is predominantly one colour. Let's pick my eyedropper, and before I click it on the screen, I'm going to press O for orange to show where, as is, the filter would be applied in the fully applied bit and the range in here. If I click the graduated bit, if I click here, it has sampled the colour around the eyedropper and it's then applied a mask. Now, there's no blue in the priory, there's no blue in the grass, there's no blue anywhere else. So really, it's done a very good job of auto masking around what I want, including looking through the windows there of the priory. You can see that it's masked it really well, and that would be a great way for me to target the sky for changes. But what if I want bits down here that I can actually do a shift and click, and I can add that in. I'm not wanting the priory in, but if I did a shift and click on the priory, I could start bringing the priory in as well. So let's kill that. Let's draw it in again. There we go. And go back in here and go colour. Take my eyedropper, click there, auto switch that off, and then I can safely make my changes knowing that they're very well masked. Before I go, one more thing to say. When you do things in extreme, be careful you don't, and I am doing it really in extreme to demonstrate this, you can get banding. You can see the banding there, and also you get fringing. Okay, so less is more, and you're better off, if you want something more extreme, you are better off actually doing more than one filter and just having more subtle changes in each one. Don't try and nail everything with one filter. You don't have to. It gives you far more control and makes your editing far more comprehensive if you don't. And that's it. Until the next one. I hope you found that useful.